And we're currently working with over 110 colleges and universities in 16 countries across the world. We've done projects here in the US. We have our products being utilized in Latin America. We also have clients in Spain, and we worked in other projects in the Emirates and Australia. And basically, our purpose is to develop solutions to help colleges and universities close the gap in terms of helping them make those critical strategic decisions they have to make pertaining these three areas that we're focusing on. We've also been recognized by organizations such as Microsoft. In 2017, we were awarded Educational Technology Partner of the Year. And in 2021, we were awarded Partner with the Greatest Social Impact across the world. So our vision is to become the leading education technology company worldwide, providing higher education institutions with data-driven solutions to help plan smarter, perform better, and cause or create the greatest impact to their institutions. We have developed a robust technological ecosystem of solutions that are helping institutions improve and optimize their academic operations on these three key areas, which is on-demand planning, which is all around the scheduling, the forecasting, and things that are pertaining to the day-to-day operational efficiencies that universities and colleges are looking to improve on every day. Also, we developed a very robust curriculum planning solution, which is all around designing curriculum, designing those outcomes, aligning those outcomes to the curriculum, and also getting those learning analytics that are very important, whether it be for accreditation purposes or quality measurement purposes in the institution. And finally, we've created this robust student success initiative planning solution that not only helps institutions predict which students are at risk, but also prescribe what are the actions that the student needs to undertake in order for him or her not to fail their courses and eventually drop out. So through this combination of data science and purpose-built workflows, our technologies enable partner institutions such as yours to plan more effectively, so you can design and manage very high quality curriculum with less pain, reduce spend, and generate incremental revenue, whether it's through optimizing your infrastructure or your class resources, and also help direct those resources to initiatives where you have the greatest impact. So that in a nutshell is what we do and why we do it and what uPlanner is all about. And then now we're going to ask these questions to Elizabeth, who is our subject matter expert in these areas. So Elizabeth, again, thank you for participating in today's call. We're very excited to have you here. The first question to you is, what is the risk and impact of not improving resources and curriculum planning in the processes?
Thank you, Mario. Really, it's my pleasure to be here. So I'm excited to chat with you and answer your questions. I think one of the biggest risks is really not understanding the actual usage of an institutional's physical space. So especially since COVID, more classes are being offered online, or there are hybrid approaches to classes, both online and then using instructional space, physical structural space. There's an added complexity, especially in the hybrid situation. With online classes, you see a reduction in the used physical space, which could ideally, be repurposed, that physical space that isn't being used any longer. If we could really understand it, in a way we could repurpose it, perhaps add more study space, more communal student space, more library space, staff offices. There's always kind of a shortage of that kind of a real estate on a campus. There really isn't, in my experience, a solid mechanism to allow us to understand that in an immediate way, right? We might be able to understand that historically, but certainly when we're scheduling classes, we don't really understand that. So the problem is that if you want to utilize your space, that you still are expending costs to maintain that space, heat that space, cool that space, clean that space. So that is a risk. That's a huge risk that comes to my mind immediately.
And that's on the planning side of things, on the scheduling side of things, right? Many institutions that I've been talking to, Elizabeth, they're struggling in their semester starts, especially now that there's multimodality ways of learning, right? So now
Mhm.
that post COVID, we went from fully online to hybrid, and now the in-person learning is picking up again.
Mhm.
There's these multiple modalities that students want, especially if they want institutions to offer them more flexibility in their attendance at school, right? So that's why they're choosing classes that offer hybrid models. And a lot of things that I've seen happened because of conversation we had with many registrars and people responsible for enrollment, is that they're struggling to give that great experience in the first 2 weeks of semester start, because they have students going in to classes where specifically for that specific time they're not taking that specific modality. So they go into the class thinking today on Monday I'm going to go in person, but then they realize that the instructor tells them that no, today you're supposed to be taking this class online, right? So that's been happening a lot, especially now. And also with students that are non-traditional, they also want to have that flexibility so they can choose specific times they can attend their classes, because they may be full-time parents that have a full-time job, and they want to have that flexibility to attend specific modalities in the class. And that's another thing that I've seen that that is happening today. I don't know if you agree with that or not.
No, I do actually. I really do. Students want the flexibility, and they also really want to know what's happening, right? So um, if your class scheduling system for the semester isn't able to communicate, adequately when you're supposed to be in person, when you're supposed to be online, or there isn't an attending communication system going out to the students, they're gonna get confused. Um, there's also an opportunity to kind of canvas your student population, perhaps even through the admission process, to
Okay.
ask them, you know,
Yeah.
what would you like? And then if we had that data, just like we need to have data about how many students are applying to this major or this
Hmm.
academic program.
Exactly.
If we could have that data, then we could respond to that proactively, instead of, what happens is that you're modifying your class schedule in the moment, and that's really not the best
Yeah.
time to do that.
And it all comes down to using that data to also to forecast, right? I need to be able to
Exactly
forecast
right.
future course
Hmm.
and class demand, right?
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
I think this is one of the things that we help at uPlanners. We have very advanced algorithms that help in that forecasting exercise that have to happen months before semester start. So that's really good. And that's more specifically on the planning side. How about on the curriculum planning side of things? Because it's not pertaining to specific things around enrollment, but now it's more about helping deans and faculty design very rich curriculum. What are the risks of not being able to plan a curriculum in a proper way?
Well, you miss opportunity, right?
Okay.
So I think it kind of goes back to understanding who your student body is. Um, Sometimes people within an institution, faculty, or at the decanal level, or even at school level, might want to create a new program, but they're not understanding that they really don't have the student body available to produce enrollment in that program. So they spend a lot of time developing a program, going through the processes to have it approved and then market it, and then they don't really understand that there isn't anybody that has an interest, or the level of interest is not cost a benefit for them. So that is also one problem. The other problem is a reduction or constant revision to a curriculum program. That's an iterative process. So if you don't know from your history, how many sections of a class that you're going to need, then you can't predict for the future without some kind of analytical tool to help you.
Yeah. And also another risk is that today many institutions are still doing the curriculum planning the traditional way in terms of they build the curriculum in a Word document or an Excel spreadsheet, right?
Right.
But then if they're planning to become accredited with an international organization or a national organization, and they need to report on the data and on the outcomes, right? Which is what it's built for. It could be very heavy lifting, right? They can take months and months and months when if they have a easy solution that is completely flexible and easy to use and has all that rich data being accumulated, as you said, then the reporting becomes easier. With one click, I can get those reports as needed, whether it's for a specific faculty or specific, overall institution, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. A tool that would provide kind of dashboard access would really help with that. And also the ability to extract data from other mediums, right? So if it is a Word document, or it is Excel, or it is in a third-party curriculum management system, you want ready access to that data so you can import it and move it around. To your benefit. So,
Fantastic. Thank
mhm.
you, Elizabeth.
You're
So
welcome.
let's move on to the next question. So obviously we just talked about risks. We kind of touched around, challenges and gaps that we're seeing in higher education around academic planning. When we talk about planning, we can talk about many things, but specifically for the purpose of uPlanner, it's all about, being able to plan at an institutional level, whether it's for curriculum purposes or resource purposes, right? Resource specifically around scheduling in class spaces or trying to optimize as efficiently as possible those resources. So, what are other realities that you're seeing today across the board in colleges and universities?
Um, so high-level institutional planning often involves, kind of three major aspects. Um, the research part of the institution, um, any kind of service in the community, which is really important. And then you have the academic side, and this is why you have a president and a provost, right? Because
Mhm.
there's kind of split. So that high level planning, considers all three of those aspects. And then, what is required to maintain those three aspects. Um, Moving through curriculum planning, which would be part of that academic aspect of the high level institution. Um, Again, I think I just want to touch upon what answered, or what we spoke about for the last question, which is curriculum planning and enrollment management. It
Mhm.
requires a constant revision to the curriculum to increase enrollment, to maintain enrollment. As you said, what do the students want? Do they want more online? Do they want more hybrid? Do they want classes that are dedicated to this subject over that subject? Do they want new academic programs because that will help them in their career, and whatever, the workforce needs are at the time. So that is a constant iterative process to do that. Um, and so if you understand, I think the impact of curricular changes to enrollment, then you're kind of, ahead of the game. You're not being reactive. You have to be proactive in order to maximize efficiency um, in the planning effort.
That's great. Thank you, Elizabeth. And then in terms of the benefits, right? So, institutions, that adopt and implement solutions like uPlanner on their strategic planning, specifically on the academic operations side of things, which is where we touch the most on, what are the benefits with this strategic planning? What can the outcomes be for a university or college by utilizing solutions like ours that we offer?
No surprises, really,
Okay.
no red scrambles. Planning means that you have a level of predictability, and that's what you want. Planning leads towards academic units that really understand their curriculum needs um, and their instructional needs in terms of faculty or adjunct faculty. One of the kind of the rubs that that I've found over the course of my career, not only as an administrator, but, as a higher ed executive consultant, is that academic departments sometimes don't know what their budget is
Mm,
until the beginning of the fiscal year, which is July. But institutions, because planning necessitates a long time, they start planning for the fall term in January, sometimes even sooner with the admission class. So if they don't know how much money they have, and they don't know what their student body is because they don't have the analytical tools, then they don't know how many instructors they may need to hire to support the student body. They may not know what their budget is because a lot of institutions determine their funding by credits delivered. So if you don't have that historical perspective of, what did I deliver in the past, and then be able to analyze that against what we are predicting for the future because we have the analysis ready to us, you're kind of just reacting, and then you're trying to figure out how you're going to fund something after the fact, which is really problematic.
great. Thank you, Elizabeth.
You're welcome.
Now to one of our last questions. What would be the ideal planning and curriculum process? How should it look like at a higher education institution? What is ideal in terms of, if I, as you said, if I have to plan 6 months before, a year before, on my resources, on my infrastructure, on my, multimodality offering for my different programs or courses, or for different, types of students, even faculty, right? You have to plan your
Mhm,
faculty
mhm,
adequately as well. And
mhm.
also, on the curriculum side as well, what does that ideal planning look like?
Sure, sure. So I think, you know, um, any strategic decisions at an institutional level, would be informed by, a really robust curriculum master planning tool, you know? So I think that that's really important. And timing is critical. So, institutions need a tool that, serves immediate needs, in terms of resource planning, curriculum planning, but also in terms of long-term projections. And you want to be able to use the same tool, right? You don't want to have a bunch of tools trying to do the analysis if you can't. That just costs more and it's inefficient.
Yeah. And you also want a tool that integrates with your technology ecosystem, right? Whether it takes
Exactly
data
right.
from the SIS, from the CRMs, from the financial solutions, from the LMS as well,
Right.
and takes data to an analyze and then pushes back into the different systems. That's very important as well. So that communication and outlook is synchronous, right? Or asynchronous,
Correct. Yeah.
depending on how the institution wants to view those specific data sets or analysis in order to make those decisions, right?
Exactly.
And in terms of in terms of, I think we talk about a lot about workflows, right? Like easy to use. That's also very important in the planning processes, right? It has to
It is.
be very
Yeah.
easy for a faculty member, for a dean to be able to, quickly plan their class schedule, quickly develop that easy to use, tool for curriculum purposes. Ease of use is ignored, but I think it's very critical in the planning process as well, right?
It is, and especially in the execution too. So if you are reacting um in terms of, defining a class schedule, in the moment during, the enrollment process, and you're making adjustments, oftentimes that's manual work. So because you don't have a good planning tool, you then are opening yourself up, to, going back to kind of manually adjusting your class schedule because there's no other way to kind of
Mhm.
forecast it.
Yeah. And accuracy is very important as well, right? In
Right.
terms of the planning process. So the more accurate your simulations are, in terms of, if you want to run multiple simulations in your planning through advanced algorithms like the ones we offer in our tool,
Mhm.
you can also have different scenarios, right?
Right.
And based on the scenarios, you can plan accordingly as well. And the same thing
Oh,
goes for the
abs-
curriculum process. You know, if the institution is looking for very basic curriculum workflows to start because they're not ready, well, the system can easily adapt to those specific requirements. And then as the years progress and they want to add more functionality, they can do it as well in terms of the processes.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's definitely will, speed up the process, make it more accurate. Um, the communication, is essential if you need to move classes to different spaces or reschedule them in terms of time. You want to be able to communicate to those students so they know what's happening. So also what I thought of, Mario, is there are within a term or a semester schedule, you can kind of segment those weeks of instruction for
Mhm.
smaller class lengths and whatever. But if you do that, those kind of, mm, you know, mini semesters, I should say, they
Okay.
might have different needs than your
Okay.
overall semester. So you want a tool that, you can change your requirements, so you can do the analysis that way.
Yeah. And those requirements can also change based on whether it's undergraduate, postgraduate, even at faculty level, right? Engineering scheduling requirements are very different than,
Right.
medical medicine faculty
Mhm.
requirements, right? So,
Exactly.
okay.
And
Great.
lab use,
Lab
wet lab
use.
use
Yeah,
for biology, chemistry, and so forth. Yeah.
exactly. Exactly.
Mhm.
Great. Okay. So it's come time for some questions and answers. I don't know, Shelley, if you can read some of them to us.
Yeah, I'd be happy to. We've got some great questions here. The first one is, excuse me, forecasting is something we have been trying to implement at our university. Can you elaborate a little more on the uPlanner forecasting capability?
You want to take a shot at it, Elizabeth?
Oh, I'm sorry, I went on mute. No, Mario, I would like you to do that, and then
Okay.
I can respond, just because
Yeah.
I don't want to mislead anybody
Okay.
and
Yeah.
the
Perfect.
expert.
Okay. So our forecasting capability is divided into two. So we have, our what we call a demand planning tool, which enables institutions to, you know, properly adequate the right resources, the right class spaces, the class schedules based on what the institution is looking to do proactively. But then there's a forecasting need that comes also during that process, right? So what we've done is we've developed very, very advanced algorithms to help in that forecasting process. So we can, before semester starts, in the planning process that, the enrollment department will have, to properly adequate how many students, if they go up by a certain percentage, how would that affect the scheduling of the specific program, course, or the institution as a whole, right? So that's what we've done. And so it's all in one. It's not only a scheduling solution that's been created, but a forecasting component has been created. We've also developed an exam planning tool on top of that, because exam planning is completely different than that happens during the semester, right? So if institutions are looking to adequately plan exams, whether it's for spaces or for capabilities, or whether maybe something as simple as, I don't want my physics 101 exams to be the day before your calculus 101 exam, because students are not going to be able to succeed because maybe they don't have enough time to study for those specific exams. This exam forecasting solution enables the institution to really, really, really be able to forecast exams according to what they could see fit for student success.
Yeah, I think a really important part, is the ability to forecast an exam schedule. This is really critical because you want your students to first of all know what their exam schedule is and plenty of time to make plans, for their breaks. In addition, when you have institutions that have multiple campuses and perhaps campuses that are in different time zones, you want to be able to schedule those exams at the same time so there's no overlap, right? You don't want somebody in a different area taking the exam prior to students in another area because there might be some liability there for academic dishonesty things. So, exam scheduling is a really big deal. And I don't think that a lot of people have considered that when
Yeah.
they've tried to offer other planning tools or scheduling tools like Live 25.
Exactly. Okay. Thank you.
Hey, Mario, there's a couple of questions from Deb Nielsen.
Yep.
Hey, Deb, thanks for the questions. And they both wrap around the curriculum planning. So I don't know if everybody can see the questions, but let me read this. Does uPlanner do curriculum mapping and mapping courses to program learning outcomes? And then the follow-up question Deb had was, could you tell me a bit about the curriculum planning capabilities? So do you want to take that, Mario? And
Yeah, I could yeah. So yeah, we definitely map courses to learning outcomes. So in the workflow of what we offer in our solution, and we're happy to show you, Deb, a live demo. We can schedule it, is everything from the design of the curriculum to the mapping of the curriculum to the outcomes to the design of alignment of the syllabus to that curriculum, and eventually the data that comes from those outcomes. We able to report on that as well. The solution reports on that. So yes, so definitely it aligns. And the good thing about it is that it also integrates with the LMS. So whether using Canvas, Anthology, Blackboard, D2L, Open LMS, Moodle, and any other LMS, if those outcomes have been designed within the LMS by activity or specific course in the LMS, we can take that data from the LMS and ingest it into our curriculum tool as well. So that also helps the institution to have this multifaceted approach to the curriculum mapping. So you can design at a high level the curriculum with our solutions, but if outcomes are at a course level, an activity level done in the LMS, we can ingest that information to have the overall results reported in our curriculum tool.
Deb, I hope that answered your question. And again, we're happy to follow up with more detail.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of capabilities in the curriculum tool. So if we go back to the kind of the framework that we built for curriculum planning, this is where we talk about all the different things that I just talked about. So obviously the design, you can do it at a program level, course level. You can create those easy to use workflows aligned to specific areas on the curriculum design. And also, as you asked, we align those outcomes to the curriculum, whether it be through assessment, whether it's through rubrics or through specific outcome definitions that your institution or your faculties have. And then in the management, we created for faculty specific dashboards so they can manage the curriculum for the specific classes, or deans for the specific programs. And also, obviously, what I said, the follow-ups and is also very important on that as well. And finally, the learning analytics. So this is very important. It's not a separate solution. It's all embedded within the same tool in order to get those reports or reporting needed, whether it's for accreditation or other specific needs that the institution has. So I hope that answers the question. The last question, which is the last one,
which is the curriculum planning. Yeah.
Thank
you. And Deb, again, if you have other questions, just pop them into the Q&A and or we can follow up afterwards. Mario, here's a good question that we've heard from some institutions is, we currently use Excel to keep track of many of our curriculum processes. And I don't know, Deb, if this resonates with you, but can you speak to about what an implementation would look like? Will we be able to use our old data?
Yeah, Totally. So whether you design your curriculum in an Excel, in a Word document, if you have them on a PDF, our technology will import those documents and align what you've designed in this case, Excel spreadsheet into our curriculum tool. We do have 10 years of experience doing this because we know that even though technology, continues to evolve and there continues to be innovation, institutions, not all of them, but many of them still design the curriculum in a Word document, or in an Excel in this case. So yes, we can definitely do that.
There was one other question, Mario, and this sort of ties back into something that you commented about earlier around the different platforms that uPlanner can pull together. So the question was, does uPlanner leverage data from our existing solutions, such as an SIS or LMS? How? We are always looking for ways to extend our investment in the existing technologies we have.
Yeah. So think about uPlanner as a top strategic layer on top of the SIS, on top of the LMS, on top of the CRM for optimization and efficiency purposes, right? Whether it's to help the SIS to allocate the right number of sections and like the right number of students in the right number of sections, or the right faculty in the right number of sections that they have to teach. That is what we do. Consider us a solution, innovative, that is going to help optimize those specific requirements that the college or university may be looking at. It doesn't have to be an institutional level, it could be a faculty level, maybe one or two or three departments in the institution are looking for those specific needs, and we can target, right? Because what we do is our simulations run based on rules, and those rules may be different from faculty to faculty. It's not a one size fits all. Our technology adapts to those different rules that different departments may have. And also the same thing for curriculum. We know you have the LMS, but our curriculum tool enhances the LMS experience for faculty and for departments by allowing them to design really, really rich curriculum with very easy to use workflows, and especially the reporting, the data analytics is very important. The same thing for our predictive analytics tool or an engagement tool that is part of this student success initiative planning solution that we offer. We take the data from different systems as well, whether it's the LMS, the SIS, or even like surveys we can do for students to capture that data and that information.
Yeah, and Mario, there's one last question that was submitted around accreditation reporting. For this person, it says it's a very manual process for us and takes a lot of resources. Does uPlanner solutions help us with accreditation?
100%. Obviously, there's accreditations for different programs. There's accreditations for engineering, for business administration. So we've designed our solution in order for those specific objectives outcomes, that the accreditation institution is looking for. We can specifically align those outcomes in a very easy way in a curriculum tool, because every accreditation institution has different outcomes that they want to see achieved in a program.
Perfect. Those are the questions that were submitted, Mario.
Okay.
I think what we want to do now is, Mario, if you could click on the poll button. We just wanted to kind of get some feedback from the attendees via the poll.
There you go.
And again, if this would we would be happy to follow up on any of the things that we talked about, or anything that afterwards you start to think, well, I wish I would have asked. We're happy to just, get with you one-on-one to do that. So let's see. Yeah, just might leave that up there, Mario. And then
Yes.
I just kind of wanted to wrap up real quickly here, just thanking everyone who attended and stayed with us through this. I hope that we were able to answer some questions. I hope maybe we provoked some thoughts, right? Some things that you didn't know when you came and have learned from this. So if you wanted to continue the conversation with any one of us, please feel free to send us an email. Elizabeth, we kind of consider her part of our team. And so, Elizabeth, thank you so much for being a part of this conversation. Again, we appreciate your expertise and your spirit. Mario, thank you for hosting this.
Yes.
And so as we wrap up, I would just like to ask Mario and Elizabeth if they have one last maybe just, nugget of wisdom or thought that you'd like to leave with the attendees today.
Go ahead, Elizabeth.
I think the nugget I want to kind of leave with is try to be as proactive as you can and to use the tools that will enable you to be as proactive as you can. I think that's the best way to serve your students and your community, your institutional community, the staff and the faculty as well. So that's my final thought.
Yeah, those are great words, Elizabeth. Exactly that. And, and obviously companies like us, that develop these robust technologies, develop them for this purpose, right? Just to help you as an institution to achieve those specific outcomes or desired outcomes that you're trying to achieve, whether it's on curriculum, whether it's on, forecasting demand, improving efficiency, saving costs, reducing spend, retaining students, understanding why students are dropping out, helping increase enrollment. All those things are very unique in terms of what institutions are facing today. So, and then I would say, there's our email, Shelly, myself and Elizabeth, if you have any questions, if you want to follow up, if you want to see a demo of our products, please reach out to us. We'll be more than happy to showcase our solutions to you.
All right, that's a wrap. Thank you to everyone. We will be sending out a link to the recording along with some other information, but please feel free to reach out to us. And again, thank you for your time and attention.
Great. Awesome.
Thank you, Mario.
Thank you, Shelly.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Elizabeth.
Elizabeth. Thank you, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.